Alright, welcome everyone to the Nicholas WX Weather Team. We are currently live for the ongoing tornado outbreak that is expected later this afternoon going into the evening time frame. We currently have two tornado warnings out in southeastern Texas. That would be northeast of Houston, Texas. We got one that is currently on the ground. Well, it has since lifted, but we still do have an observed tornado warning for the next 5 minutes. I believe they're going to let that one go, and they may add a new one for the rotation that is northeast of, or just southeast of North Cleveland, Texas. So if you're southeast of North Cleveland, Texas, that's just a heads up there. New area that we're really focusing on is south of Plum Grove, and that is going to be moving into some rural areas here near Colony Ridge. But a new area of rotation has warranted a tornado warning within the past 2 minutes from now, and that is where our concentration is going to be for later this evening. Or not this evening, excuse me, for later this afternoon. Now bear with me here as I try to share the stream. Alright, there we go. If you're just now tuning in, this is a live broadcasting live stream for the upcoming severe weather, possible tornado outbreak later this evening. All the severe parameters is absolutely going berserk with this potential outbreak where we're expected to, bear with me. I'm trying to figure out some issues here. I'm having slight tech issues, but we are still live, hopefully. And let me know if we're live in the chats. I'm trying to make sure everything is working the right way. So while I do this, we got a tornado warning for areas northeast of, well, if you're in Plum Grove, Colony Ridge, Oakdale, Carter State, Settlement, Lum, Macedonia, Franklin, Jacob Settlement, Trinity River Lake Estates, going towards Mason Lake Estates, you need to go ahead and be moving to your safe place now as a tornado warning is now in effect for your area for the next 33 minutes. The National Weather Service in League City has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Montgomery County in southeastern Texas, central Liberty County in southeastern Texas, and northeastern Harris County in southeastern Texas. Until 1:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time, you can expect the potential for a tornado and quarter-size hail. Now, we did have this other area of rotation that produced a tornado near the Splendora High School area with lots of debris that was reported earlier. That has since lifted and the rotation has since died off. We'll go ahead and take a look at a wider look at what's going on. Welcome in, everyone. So Weather Tracker 21 is asking, do we think there will be a high risk? No, at this time, I believe they're going to keep it at a moderate risk. I believe we're after hours of them fixing anything with that risk. But we were really close to it. As far as everything, they have decided to keep it as a moderate risk due to some uncertainty that kind of kept the risk on a lower level. Although, regardless of the risk, you still need to be prepared for today that a tornado outbreak is very likely and is going to occur. And I say this now, a tornado outbreak is going to occur. Louisiana is having a whole lot of great instability out ahead of everything here, where we are greatly expected to see severe weather all evening and going into the overnight hours as we head east. So now that I got the stream fixed, and also welcome in Airborne Animation, glad to have you here. We're going to talk about these couple little thunderstorms near College Station and LaGrange, Texas. There we go. And these two areas are just producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and about quarter-sized hail. These two warnings are in effect. This one's already been expired. This warning here near Round Top and Braham is in effect for another 30 minutes, so until 1:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And then they just let go of that severe thunderstorm warning. So we currently have 3 warnings, and we have had a long day of warnings today. I mean, this is not the start of it. We had at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 tornado warnings earlier. We had a PDS tornado warning in Texas for that one storm that produced that tornado near the Splendora, Texas area. And of course, we did have a couple tornado warnings out towards Louisiana. Again, a moderate risk is stretched across the southeastern Texas, central Louisiana, and parts of central southern Mississippi and parts of southwestern. I'm actually going to real quickly fix the scene real quick, so you're not going to have audio from me, but I'm going to try to pull up the general risk for you just here in 1 second. Alright, so again, bear with me. I'm just trying to fix up this scene. Alright, I had all day to fix this up and wasn't able to directly, but here is our risk for today, and I'll go ahead and kind of turn off everything else so you can see it a little bit better. We do have that moderate risk, again, stretching, like I just mentioned, that stretches from all the way very extreme southeastern Texas and going into far extreme southwestern Alabama. This is where we're going to stay with it. I wouldn't have been too surprised if they were to issue a high risk, or if they did issue a high risk in this general area right in here. And that is due to the amount of clearing that we're having in Louisiana. It's just, today is going to be above and beyond severe weather-wise. So if they were to issue a high risk, I would have seen it somewhere, in this general area for certain. But the good news is it looks like we're going to stay away from the high risk for right now. But like I also said earlier, no matter the risk, you're still in a moderate risk. And this being said, we are still expected to see a major tornado outbreak today with long track tornadoes, some being very violent. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm not saying this to kind of spook anybody, but I mean, several long track tornadoes stronger than EF2 and EF3 is possible from southeastern Texas going all the way through south central Mississippi, and some areas in Alabama could see that as well. But by the time it gets to eastern Mississippi and into western Alabama, we're expected to see a lot of that severe weather to go QLCS, which means quasi-linear linear convective system, which is usually just you get some bowing segments within that line. Some could produce up to 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and others can produce spin-up tornadoes. And still, those spin-up tornadoes are still very violent at times. Yes, I agree with your airborne animation. There's not a lot of convection out ahead of it. I mean, you got these little blimps is what we call it, and as soon as these little blimps attach to that atmosphere and they really start to blow up and convect, so we just got a little bit of capping out here, just a little bit. And these are actually helping hold off these storms just a little bit and just enough where the environment can prime. We can have most, partly cloudy skies across this area and across this environment, which we do already have. And that being said, today is just going to be a busy and wild off day. Right now, we only got one tornado warning, and this is a pretty classical supercell here. It's multicellular, but we do have a decent hook echo on it, which is a radar signature that we use to tell if a tornado is imminent. We do actually have some good inflow going into this tornado, and that is helping for rotation to start up. Greens is going towards, and reds is going away from the radar. Of course, these two areas here is something that we're watching. So if you're near Colony Ridge, go ahead and be seeking shelter. The rotation is right over you. Wouldn't surprise me at all if you're seeing a wall cloud. It's not tight rotation, but it's definitely there, and that is something we'll continue to monitor. This is going to head northeast. It does look like this is kind of getting or occluding into itself a little bit here. But as far as what we're seeing for this area, we still got rotation, and you still need to be seeking shelter. So if you're out ahead of this tornado warning, east of Colony Ridge, northeast of Colony Ridge on 321, County Road 321, County Road 105, and County Road 140, go ahead and be seeking shelter. I'll go zoom in a little bit more here, where Oakdale, Carter Settlement, Colony Ridge, Simon's Bottom, Lumen and Macedonia, Sam Houston, Franklin, Jacob Settlement, Maram, Trinity River Lake Estates, Sam Houston, Mason Lake Estates, going towards the Tanner Settlement, and Duct Tape Settlement as well. We were just covering this area yesterday or the day before, and this is where we had another potential tornado touchdown earlier that day. But if you're out ahead of this, go ahead and be seeking shelter and staying in your safe place. Put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world. Stay away from doors and windows, and stay there until the warning is allowed to expire. Weather Tracker 21, let's see. Yes, I agree. So yeah, since you're out there in Ohio, you're not really expecting much of a severe weather threat for today. Now, gusty winds and, like you said, rain is expected out there towards the Ohio region, as this system is going to be fairly strong and synoptic, bringing gusty winds. Even for our area over here in Alabama, we're going to have winds out ahead of this line up to 35 miles per hour, which is going to be very, very interesting to say the least. That's ahead of our severe weather threat. And speaking of that, as we get into the evening time frame, we will have to probably end off the live stream, especially if severe weather is looking more prominent towards my coverage area, and I will have to take over on my whoa, cool colors on my weather team called Star 9 Alabama. So normally and originally I wouldn't have mentioned that, since we are covering for the Malicoute weather team, but we will have to switch over in some short time from around 7 through 9 p.m. this evening to cover that area. If you got any questions for your area, go ahead and just ask away. I don't mind answering them. We currently have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings with 1 tornado possible tag, and then of course our tornado warning out in I would say this is in northeastern Houston metro, but not really. Of course, this one has occluded just a tad for the moment. For right now. Trying to get the words out of my mouth. Let me see what I was tagged in. Okay, so tornado damage is coming in from Porter Heights, where that tornado originally was on the ground. You can follow me at WeathermanNick1 on Twitter, when you can see where I reposted that. Thank you to Travis for tagging me on that post. So that is a question that I've been really looking at as well, if Huntsville could go enhanced. And right now, it's in between. I think the tornado threat is, I really honestly know. The tornado threat's going to be much lower. I was monitoring the NWS chat over here in Huntsville, where they were mentioning that threat is going to be on a lower end for tornadoes. So a couple spin-up tornadoes off across Huntsville is expected, but the main threat is going to be 65 to 70 mile per hour damaging winds across North Alabama, and heavier downpours as well. So we could see an enhanced risk, but right now I think we're going to stay at a slight risk, as it's not seeming too high in that risk, if you will. Now, if the models kept trending with the way they were yesterday into early this morning, then I definitely do believe that we would have seen an enhanced risk in our area, because the way the models were pointing at the risk over the area showed prefrontals that could develop tornadoes or just supercells, if you will. I'm over here having issues explaining myself, but we could have seen supercells, and we just got a new tornado warning for parts of Alvin, Texas. Let me go ahead and put on my earphones so I can actually hear if the alerts go off. That's aside on me talking about the stuff that's going on as well. So just bear with me here. All right, so a new tornado warning has just been issued for a little tight area of rotation just southwest of Alvin, Texas. This one here is actually moving south of the Houston metro into League City, where we have a Dixon radar. Matter of fact, we actually do have a sky camera here. And one thing I want to note here, we're looking at the sky camera again. This is the Dixon, Texas OEM sky camera being used on Radar Omega. And you can see these clouds, and you could also see lightning. But these clouds, the lower level jet is not exactly kicking, but we got really fast wind to the upper atmosphere where we're seeing those clouds being pushed at quicker speeds. So we're seeing winds up to 500 to 600 miles per hour, 700 miles per hour up in the upper atmosphere, which that sounds fast for that in the upper atmosphere, but that's how our jet stream works. Um, we could actually have a spin up tornado on the ground already. And matter of fact, I do believe a tornado is on the ground. Yes, I do believe we might have a tiny tornado on the ground just southwest of Alvin, Texas. If you are near Alvin, Texas, go ahead and be seeking shelter as a tornado is likely on the ground here with this couplet. Yes, I do believe we likely have a tornado on the ground. If anybody's in the chat that monitors the Malicoute weather team, can y'all go ahead and say something about that? Because that is a tiny CC drop, but a very tight couplet. So that is likely on the ground southwest of Alvin, Texas. I'm going to go ahead and post about that on Twitter real quick. So bear with me. I'm going to have a silent moment where I'm going to start typing. Because that velocity is really tight. So if you're in this area, tornado is likely on the ground, as I just mentioned, southwest of Alvin. And yes, the CC is confirming that. Bear with me here. Alright, we tagged National Weather Service, so maybe they will get that as well. But a tornado is definitely on the ground. Here's a CC drop. Towns and homes are likely getting impacted. Matter of fact, you can see a little tiny debris ball where debris could be getting lifted up. I enjoy tracking storms as well. We will too. Alright. Yep, that is definitely a CC drop. And for the people that don't know what a CC drop is, and there's our observed tornado warning, so that's perfect right there. We now have a observed tornado warning for Alvin, Texas, and Hillcrest, Texas. Our correlation coefficient, that is what CC is called. It's just CC is short for correlation coefficient. This tells us if there is debris being lofted up in the air. Sometimes we could use our correlation coefficient to tell if there is any larger hail as well. But right now we have a larger CC drop on the radar here just south of Hillcrest. And this is actually heading directly towards you. If you're living out in Hillcrest, go ahead and seek shelter. We have a confirmed tornado on the ground. You need to go in an interior room away from doors and windows, but as many walls as you possibly can between you. Try to find you a bicycle helmet and just stay away from the outside world until this storm pushes out of the area. But if you're in Hillcrest, a very quick spin-up tornado is likely fixing to move into the area. Let's go ahead and check up on our northern tornado warning here near the south of North Cleveland, Texas. And right now, the velocity on it is very messy, but it definitely could potentially strengthen together once again, or recouple is what we call it, if it's given time. A new severe thunderstorm warning was issued for this cell that is moving northeast now, with the tornado possible tag on it as well, which is where this little couplet is right here. That is another area that we're going to have to watch. So if you're in Woodville and Warren, Texas, that's just a heads up for you folks out there. I want to 0 meter back onto our storm out here in Alvin and Hillcrest. We still have a potential very violent, not violent, but just a very quick spin up tornado on the ground. You got your red, well, really, you got your bright blues and greens and your darker greens and reds ish. That is being indicated on the radar. You have a slight little debris ball being picked up on the reflectivity. And this little couplet is beginning to move into the Alvin and Hillcrest area. As I mentioned before, you need to be seeking shelter if you haven't been already. Okay. And if you're out ahead of this in League City, go ahead and prep for this tornado that is still on the ground. Here's another look at our CC drop here. And I'm actually generally curious how far these how far the debris is being carried, if you will. And yes, it does look like it just crossed 172, fixing to get onto the street of Parker Spring or 191. If you're on 191, you just best need to get off the road and find a structure now to seek shelter. And it's basically already right on top of you. I thought a new tornado warning was issued for a second, but again, if you are out towards the 191 area, 191B and 191C, go ahead and be seeking shelter if you haven't been already. If you're out about on County Road 35, driving into Alvin, go ahead and try to find a safe place in Alvin or Hillcrest to seek shelter and stay there until this warning is allowed to expire. We got 28 more minutes. A tornado warning remains in effect until 1:30 p.m. CST or Central Daylight Time for West Central Galveston and Northeastern Brazoria counties until... I'm trying to find the... I just lost where I was at. I apologize. Sometimes it is hard to tell when the warning will expire. Okay, a tornado warning remains in effect until... There it is. I just read it out. I'm not paying attention. So until 1:30 p.m. CST. Again, that is for West Central Galveston and Northeastern Brazoria counties until 1:30 p.m. Damaging tornado and quarter-size hail. This is radar indicated, and that debris ball continues. This being said, our tornado is still on the ground. It's likely a quick rope little tornado. I'm not seeing any reports just yet. Bear with me here. Katy, Texas. Okay, that isn't here. But we did have a multi-vortex tornado earlier in Katy, Texas. This is not our storm, though. I'm getting more and more concerned with this one, though. We got a very tight CC couplet here that is still continuing. The tornado might have lifted as the CC seems more falling apart. But I definitely believe that it's likely still on the ground here. So you need to be seeking shelter if you haven't already. And let's see. Bear with us here. Alright. I need to get something playing in the background because I keep going silent. I apologize. Yeah, this is still on the ground southwest of Hillcrest, as we still have a debris ball right on County Road 35 here, being noted on reflectivity and, of course, CC. So we continue with a correlation coefficient drop, a CC drop. And I'm fixing to bring up a little, this right here, to maybe show us how high the debris is being lofted up in the air. So with the models on the high risk thing, right this second, it's not looking as likely as it was earlier, but we still have a corridor where a high risk could get introduced, especially for Louisiana. And debris are being lofted up to close 10 feet in the atmosphere or in the air, and that's 10,000 feet. A new tornado warning was just issued for that rotation that is now just south of Woodville, Texas. Unfortunately, radar holes are beginning to become a thing. We just got a new tornado warning issued for Warren and Woodville, Texas for the next 25 minutes. So this warning will exist until 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, including southwestern Tyler County in southeastern Texas and northwestern Hardin County in southeastern Texas. Hazard tornado and quarter-sized hail is expected or possible, and source, this is radar indicated rotation. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. You need to go ahead and move indoors, but as many walls as you can between you, and move into a safe place away from the outside world. Our very tight couplet continues here in the Alvin and Hillcrest area. If you haven't already, you need to be seeking shelter if you're out in this area. If you got family members that you may know, go ahead and share the stream. Let them know that they need to be taking shelter now. This is a dangerous situation for this area. Alright, and we do have footage now coming out with the tornado on the ground in Houston. Multi-vortex tornado actually looks like that's what we're seeing right now. So this is a dangerous tornado on the ground, likely very strong, up to EF1, EF2 damage. We're not going to pre-rate here, but that's just where we're at with how strong this velocity. This is a tight velocity couplet, which kind of indicates that this is a stronger tornado on the ground. While it's not your average really tight couplet, it is still something that we watch for. And it is a small couplet too, which tells me that we are dealing with a pretty interesting and strong tornado here. Now beginning to move into the southwestern metro of Hillcrest. And here's the debris ball now getting bigger as we are seeing more and more buildings possibly getting hit out here towards Hillcrest. As I've said, y'all's town's named enough. Depending on how this storm continues, we could get a PDS tornado warning issued for this area. So that's just a heads up there. Our two tornado warnings continue out here towards Woodville and Plum Grove and North Cleveland. We have 7 more minutes on the Cleveland storm. It's expected to remain over rural areas. And I'm going to quickly look at the velocity on it. And the velocity is pretty much falling apart here, although it does seem to me that there could be another area of rotation just north of Hardin, potentially. That is something I'm going to keep an eye on. I don't think a Tor E is going to be issued just yet, unless it was very, very violent, like deep correlation coefficient and whatnot. That's usually when we see a Tor E. When violent rotation, trying to think, velocity winds are up to somewhere around 180, something like that. I forget the criteria for a Tor E, but we're definitely under the criteria. Matter of fact, good news is it looks like the velocity is really breaking up. Of course, we are heading closer to the radar here, which is going to make it extremely hard on being able to watch this storm. So we might be able to use this airport radar, though. And there's our velocity right here, just south of Alvin. Welcome in. I agree. Today is not the day to not be prepared. You should have been prepared way ahead of this. Some of these tornadoes are actually happening outside of the larger risk that we have. So we're just beginning this day. I mean, this is, you know, we have several more hours on this event. We're not done with it yet. If you're in Alvin, Texas, you need to be staying in your safe place now. This rotation is likely right over Hillcrest, Texas now. Our velocity couplet is still just to the west of Hillcrest. I'm just waiting on newer radar scans. And there they are. It's kind of jogging a little south. Again, with us getting closer to the radar, we're going to have some pixely updates now where that radar kind of dome is going to mess with it. I wonder if we can change with... Let's see. No. I personally don't know how to change the radio. Oh, wait, I do. I do know how to change the radius on radar now. Let's see. So, there we go. We can go to tilt 3. There we go. So, the CC drop is likely right over Hillcrest now. And we're using tilt 3 since we're getting closer to the radar. That is still a fairly large CC drop that is heading into the community of Hillcrest. If you're not in your safe place along and inside Hillcrest, you need to be now. Dangerous situation is currently ongoing as a tornado is still likely on the ground for your area. Nothing yet coming in. We've only had one report of a tornado that it wasn't fully condensed and it looked like it was nearly multi-vortex, but it is unsure at the moment. But it's heavy rainfall continues. Looks like we're staying with just an observed tornado warning. If you're east of Hillcrest, now we're going to be talking about Olga. If you're in Olga, you need to go ahead and be seeking shelter now, as this observed tornado on the ground is going to be heading straight towards your region. This might go just a little north of you, but regardless, you need to be seeking shelter now, just in case this tornado is still on the ground by the time it gets to you. There's our velocity couplet. It is still fairly strong. So our velocity couplet continues. If you haven't been in your safe place now, I don't know what's holding you up there. Don't try to record anything from the storm, as it is not safe. You need to be in a safe place. And unfortunately, it does look like debris are actually being lofted up to 10,000 feet in the atmosphere. So 10,000 feet. All right. Talk about these other tornado warnings. We just lost one, and now we got this one for another 17 minutes. This one will expire at 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time for radar indicated rotation and quarter-sized hail. Actually, yeah, 1:30. This one will continue until 1:30. We had a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This one likely has a tornado possible tag on it, and it does. And let's take a quick look at it. Some strong winds are definitely inside of this one. $half size hail, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and even potentially a quick spin up tornado inside this one as well. You can see your classic hook echo that's beginning to really take shape. That is like I said earlier, that is a radar signature that we use to tell if a tornado is imminent or possible. Taking a dive back south towards Hillcrest, our tornado seems to still be on the ground out here. I'm going to go ahead and have this playing on the left hand side. Andasola, I'm going to assume. Is Andasola, Alabama okay? I'll take a look at that here in just a minute. We can actually look over some models later, but unfortunately, with how severe weather is playing out, we are likely going to see a continuation on the tornado outbreak ahead. Because this is likely going to be a tornado outbreak. Not to scare anybody, but you need to be weather aware. Alright, so we're getting damage reports across Texas still coming in. Not around the area that we're covering, though. And we're getting a large lowering reported near Livingston, Louisiana. So that warrants me to go over here and look at Livingston, Louisiana, which I would assume would be with this storm here that's actually rotating. Let's see if we can find it. Livingston. There's a lot of Livingstons. There we go. Oh, that is way over here. Never mind. So a lot of these cells that are by themselves are beginning to rotate out here, and this one actually is broadly rotating, so it does have a mezzo on it, and it was rotating right over Livingston, Louisiana. So just a heads up out there. Looks like it's not rotating as much anymore, but all of these cells out here ahead of the system near Baton Rouge. This is why a lot of storm chasers are out here as well. But we're having partly cloudy skies with some convection out here that continues. A lot of this energy is going into these areas where we're expected to see that tornado outbreak later this afternoon. Potential tornado outbreak. We still have observed tornado warning ongoing. I didn't know there was another camera here, but there we go. We have a observed tornado warning now moving east of Hillcrest. If you're in Olga, like I mentioned earlier, you need to be in your safe place now if you haven't already. I'm sure there's tornado sirens going off now for your current area. You need to go ahead and be seeking shelter now if you haven't been already. This is right at your doorstep, and unfortunately, the couplet continues. You can see that clearly on the radar. I want to look at CC real quick. So we still have a correlation coefficient CC drop, but with it being so close to the radar site, it's making it harder and harder for us to really tell what's going on. But just a heads up, in Olga, if you're out ahead of Olga, driving potentially on 517 or County 6 or County Road 6, or potentially the Olga Rideswood Road area, you need to be seeking shelter in a sturdy building away from doors and windows. Put as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. We're just getting confirmed updates on damage in Porter Heights, Texas. That was from earlier, but 5 homes were heavily damaged in the Porter Heights update. Our confirmed tornado warning continues. A new severe thunderstorm warning was issued for Arkansas. We actually did have a couple of tornado warnings out here as well. That does continue here for the Fordyce area of Louisiana. So if you're in that area, go ahead and be seeking shelter now if you haven't been already. And that tornado warning does continue for our areas down towards Warren. If you're in Warren, you're not forgotten here. You need to stay in your safe place. You got 13 more minutes with this warning. It's expected to expire around 1:35 or 1:30 this afternoon. So stay in that safe place until the warning is allowed to expire. Again, that would be Warren and Woodville. Areas of rotation might be showing up on these southern storms of that warning as well. So Hardin, Liberty, Dayton, areas that were under a tornado warning the other day, just a heads up for you folks out there. If you're just now tuning in, we are live for the potential of a large tornado outbreak that could have several long track damaging tornadoes up to EF2 strength possible today. Right now, we're covering a tornado warning out towards League City, Texas, where a tornado is currently on the ground, continuing northeast into a very populated area. And we're going to continue to monitor this tornado warning. We also have a second one that we just mentioned out here towards the southeastern part of Texas and Warren and Woodville, Texas. So if you're in these two areas, be staying in your safe place until the warnings is allowed to expire. I agree. This does feels like Rolling Fork. It really does, but the environment actually is more violent, in my opinion, than the Rolling Fork environment that we had last year. So, and that's not saying anything to scare anybody, but it just, we have so much out here for these storms to really hitch onto. It's very likely that we could see something worse than that on that end. So we have to really stay weather aware. Yeah, I am too. Huntsville, while it is nice to see some stronger storms, Huntsville is expected to really stay out of the strongest areas um, of the severe weather. Again, all Huntsville is really expected to get is damaging gusty winds and a spin up tornado potentially. But most of us are thankfully not going to see much out and about across North Alabama. Now, I'm saying this with a grain of salt, though, because anything could change within the next several hours. Although we haven't really seen a peak of sun, it's been mostly cloudy all afternoon. Even with it being mostly cloudy, instability could still gradually climb. As a matter of fact, I could probably look at the soundings here shortly. Okay, so we do have a confirmed damage report now from the Emergency Management in Brizona County. Multiple homes destroyed between Alvin and Liverpool. This is near County Road 191A. Substantial debris on parts of SH35, which I assume that's road. But we do have tornado damage reports now coming in with this tornado that is still observed moving into the areas of South Dixon and Santa Fe. And that really looks interesting. I think the couplet's really weakening still, but it's still there. We still have an observed tornado likely, and we're probably fixing to get a new tornado warning here very shortly. If not a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning. And I real quickly want to go over to this severe thunderstorm warning out towards Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Texas here, where we are seeing a supercell by itself just wandering around here. And there's that new tornado warning that I was just talking about. Still observed. Just let's go ahead and focus on that tornado warning real quick. Alright. So, folks, south of League City, Dixon, Santa Fe, San Leon, you're in a new tornado warning. This tornado warning has 37 minutes on it. It will expire at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This tornado warning includes northwestern Galveston County and southwestern eastern Texas, northeastern Arizona County and southeastern Texas, and southeastern Harris County in southeastern Texas. A damaging tornado and quarter-sized hail is expected. Radar confirmed tornado is still on the ground and is still moving through this area. Damage has already been reported and caused, by this tornado and does continue. So if you're not in your safe place already, you need to be seeking shelter out in Dixon today. Not tomorrow, but today. You need to run to that safe place, as it does continue. If the velocity gets any worse than what it is, matter of fact, whoa, that's incredible. I can't tell if that's rotating, but that might be a mezzo. If not a shelf cloud, but that definitely looks like a mezzo. I feel like no, that's rotating. That's a rotating wall cloud right there. I've never seen that before. I'm actually going to share this real quick. This is off of Radar Omega, where a potential rotating wall cloud is moving into the Dixon area, and a beautiful CC there right in front of the camera. Incredible. So you need to be running to your safe place if you haven't been already. Don't sit around. You need to go. Now this is becoming a little bit more violent. If this continues, we could see a PDS tornado warning get issued. So this is just a heads up. If you are out in Dixon, you need to be seeking shelter now. This is a very dangerous situation. A tornado is on the ground heading towards a larger populated area. And if you haven't been into your safe place now, like I've mentioned, you need to be there. You need to put as many walls as you possibly can between you from the outside world. Stay away from doors and windows. Try to find a bicycle helmet. Try to find pillows or something to protect your vital parts of your body, and stay into your interior room in a safe place. This tornado warning is not expected to expire until 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so that's within the next 35 to 34 minutes. Here's our CC drop. Here's our rotation right here. You got your reds and you got your greens. Greens towards, reds away from the radar. And those are continuing to move into the area of Dixon. Insane mezzo with this storm. Get to the lowest floor as you possibly can as well. Another beautiful CC there. Wow. It's been a while since I've seen something like that on radar. Whoops. If you're just now tuning in, we're covering a tornado on the ground near League City, League City, Texas, and Dixon, Texas. If you haven't been in your safe place already, if you got family out here that you know needs to be getting into their safe place, you need to go ahead and tell them to get there now. With this storm moving closer to the radar, it is becoming extremely hard to note what's going on here. Bear with me here, folks. I'm honestly, with the PDS Tornado Watch as well, I'm generally surprised how there's not one too, especially for southern Louisiana. That was another beautiful CC there. This storm is really popping out with those CC drops. New tornado warning issued here for our supercell out towards Woodville. So heads up if you're out in Warren. You got a new tornado warning for you. This one is in effect until 2 p.m. Tornado and quarter-size hail is expected, or possible, excuse me. Extremely dangerous situation unfolding here near Dixon. If you got family out here towards Dixon, let them know that they need to be in a safe place now. You could see the rising scud going into the storm potentially here, which is insane looking. But you could also see the rotation also going in with this mezzo. The green skies here indicating it's really showing an eerie look. And this entire thing is rotating. That's what it seems like just from looking at this. So tornado is likely just about to push into Dixon, Texas. It may just go a little south of you, but you need to be in your safe place if you haven't been already. We're going to kind of go here real quick. If you're on Interstate 45, get to your safe place now. Try to find a shop to stop at or something that is, just try to find a sturdy building somewhere around Dixon to seek shelter in. Do not go into mobile homes. If you're in a mobile home, run out of that mobile home and find shelter in a sturdy building. If you're caught outside, again, also do the same thing. You need to find a building that can protect you from flying debris, get to the lowest floor of a sturdy building, or find shelter and stay there until this warning or storm passes over you. Dangerous situation unfolding for Dixon. Look at this classic supercell just about. Whoops, I'm having technical issues here. If you're in the upstairs area, get to the lowest floor as you possibly can. This is an extremely dangerous situation. We've been with this storm for several minutes now as a larger tornado is possible and is possibly ongoing here. Yeah, this is pretty much 2024's last little push of craziness, because here we are at the 28th. Many people are doing holiday things, getting ready for the New Year's, and we're dealing with a severe weather outbreak. So 2024 is trying to end off of a bang, which is not a big surprise at all. And we are fixing to get into a La Nina type of season, which usually shows more severe weather for Dixie, and colder weather as well in parts of the north. Actually, I think warmer weather for parts of the north. Really watching this storm as it moves into Dixon here. Absolutely incredible. Rotation is still extremely strong on radar. Not exactly extremely strong, but it is still there. It's too close, but I'm really curious. 60 miles per hour. Still observed. Still on the ground. Likely causing damage just south of Dixon. Where is this camera pointed is my curiosity. And mind you, the temperatures out here are at 77 and closer to 80 degrees, which is extremely useful for these storms to really grab onto energy. And this storm really attached to it. And talking about our northern storms real quick, we still have a tornado warning and actually a stronger couplet as well. We could potentially have another tornado here very soon, so we'll have to watch this one. If you're in Warren, get to your safe place now. This is moving right over you. Another thing to note, lightning activity, of course it disappears as I want to talk about it, but lightning activity near Warren is being noted. That being said, we got a lot of rotation within this storm, and that is causing ice particles, rain particles, whatnot to really clash into each other. That is causing a lot of lightning out ahead of this. A tight couplet's over here, not exactly tight, but it's still there, just south of Warren. If you're out ahead of Warren, traveling on Highway 69 or on County Road 1013, try to find a sturdy building away from doors and windows. Get to the lowest floor as you possibly can. This is a tornado warning that still does exist until, and they just moved the camera, but this tornado warning does exist until 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Would not surprise me if they extended it later. Another thing to note as I move this camera, we have a rain-wrapped tornado likely on the ground as it moves into Dixon, Texas. Again, this is a rain-wrapped tornado, and I do apologize. We're going a little fast here. So we just moved south towards League and Dixon, Texas here. And we're potentially seeing a rain-wrapped tornado impact the area here where damage is likely occurring. If you're out ahead of this, you need to be in your safe place if you haven't been already. But heavy rain is occurring with this. So if you're not seeing a tornado, you're seeing heavy rain and damaging winds out ahead of this. Look at those rain bands really move in now. 74 degrees, winds are picking up to 9 and 10 miles per hour. insane look. Now live. We're going to watch as the rain kind of evolves this camera. Temperatures are dropping quickly. Here comes the rain here. So we got an observed tornado warning now heading into Dixon, Texas. The rain sheets are just now moving into the Dixon, Texas area. You can see the rain now beginning to fall on the camera here that we're watching. Again, a potentially rain-wrapped tornado is still on the ground out here. The wind is starting to pick up on the camera now as well. Watching the rain sheets. See the wind. Sustained 31 miles per hour just within an instant. So we're getting 31 miles per hour wind gusts now. Here we go. So if you're in Dixon, Texas, please be seeking shelter now. We're watching this live. Power flashes just went off there. I believe that was definitely potentially a power flash. Although we do still have power according to this light here, so. Wind gust still sustained of 44 to 33 miles per hour across this area. This is definitely still a tornado likely here. Incredible. There goes the breeze. That's a tornado. I have not ever seen that. Ever. That was just I believe that was a tornado right in front of it because we had debris being lofted there for a second. Winds still sustained up to 20 and 40 miles per hour, which is still pretty fast there. But we had leaves and sticks being lofted up in the air. This is a live view of downtown Dixon, Texas, just somewhere around this area. So if you're in and around Dixon, Texas, we got a observed tornado warning. And matter of fact, this tornado did actually cross, like literally right next to this camera here. And that's why we saw what we saw there with the winds. We had max sustained gusts up to 44 miles per hour. If you're in downtown Dixon, the tornado is right over you. You need to stay in your safe place now. If you got family out here, go ahead and give them a phone call, letting them know that they need to be in their safe place immediately. Couplet continues to move northeast now across Dixon. I'm going to look at the CC real quick. I believe it's a very weak tornado at least. But with this rotation being right over the radar, it is very, very violent. And just now coming in, a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch is incoming for parts of Louisiana and Mississippi in the next hour. Several tornadoes, including a few intense tornadoes, are expected. So, again, a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch is expected now for the areas of Louisiana and Mississippi. If you have family out there, and if you're out there yourself, you need to be in your safe place and being prepared for this storm to move through your area. It's a live look still in Dixon, Texas here, where a tornado might have just crossed this area. You can see the flags whipping through the air here as they just moved the camera looking forward here. Extremely gusty winds continuing out here in Texas. Up to 44 and 41 miles per hour. And thank you, Weather Tracker 21, for also informing us about that PDS Tornado Watch. I appreciate that. Bear with me here, folks, as I quickly talk about this PDS Tornado Watch that'll be included for Texas, or excuse me, not Texas, parts of Louisiana and Mississippi here within the next couple of hours. There we go. Alright, I apologize for the silence. Alright, so we had that tornado cross over this area. It now continues northeast of Dixon. If you're out ahead in Clifton Beach or San Leon, a potential tornado that is still potentially on the ground is still moving into your area. You need to stay in your safe place. You've been in a tornado warning for a good couple of minutes now, and we got 18 more minutes on this warning in general. Stay in your safe place. Don't leave until the warning is allowed to expire or the storm passes. We have our tornado warning that does still continue for the area of Warren. That rotation is very light now, but still there. You need to be staying in your safe place until the warning is allowed to expire. And now there's a talk about of the SPC actually going for a high risk. So a high risk is now possible. Alright. Frequent lightning continues east of Dixon, so if you are east of Dixon, go ahead and be prepared for that. And here's your heads up on that PDS Tornado Watch that's upcoming here within the next hour. And a appreciable uptick in the severe weather threat is expected soon. All severe hazards, including a few intense tornadoes, are likely. Particularly dangerous situation tornado watch will likely be issued within the next hour. So if you're out towards Beaumont, Lake Charles, Orbeline, Alexandria, going towards the Natchios, Louisiana, Monroe's, Bastrop, Natchez, and Vicksburg, out here towards the Mississippi and Louisiana state line there, you can expect a PDS Tornado Watch to be issued within the next hour. And this being said, a particularly dangerous situation Tornado Watch, it means that situations are likely going to be very dangerous, and it is time for people to really stay informed. And by the way, the velocity couplet on this Dixon storm continues to be very violent. Honestly shocked that we haven't seen a PDS tornado warning. But Dixon likely just took a direct hit. So if you're east of Dixon now, a tornado is still on the ground. If you're out towards Clifton on County Road 146, 117, going out to 646, you can see here we still have a very notable debris ball on the radar that continues northeast. If you haven't been in your safe place, I hope you are now, as this warning is really beginning to move into your area. We got just a few more minutes before it gets into the San Leon area and moves offshore, becomes a water spout before going back onto land towards Smort, or probably towards Oak Island here, if it can continue to stay on the ground across the waters here. And when it does that, it will track into the areas of Weenie and going out towards Port Arthur before making it potentially into Mississippi here later in the afternoon. And if you're just now tuning in to the live stream, we're covering a potential tornado outbreak here in the next several hours. A PDS tornado watch is likely here very soon for Louisiana and Mississippi and even parts of eastern Texas. Severe thunderstorm warnings still continue for the areas of Lufkin and Nochado. Not even going to butcher that name. Of course, Santa Augustine, Louisiana, or Texas, excuse me, with a tornado possible tag on it. And we have another tornado possible tag. Severe thunderstorm warning in Louisiana near Montgomery and Atlanta, Louisiana. A lot of these cells here, once they get their act together, they are going to be issues. Potential tornadoes are likely. Some of them very long, several of them could be long track and damaging. So just a heads up on that risk. If you're out towards Clifton Beach and San Leon, the rotation is beginning to head over your area now, and you need to be in your safe place if you're not already. Put as many walls as you can between you and outside world, and stay there until the storm moves over your area. Hail is now being reported near Cat Springs, Texas, up to quarter and golf ball size. The tornado is likely already now crossing 146 into the areas of Clifton and Clifton Beach and San Leon. With the newest scan, it is past 146, moving on to Salt Bayou and into the areas of 29th Street. So I really hope everybody's alright and in their safe place out here. This is an extremely dangerous situation with this storm. I am using Alpha, the Alpha one. That's to my knowledge. That's all I know on Radar Omega on the version. I believe I'm using the Alpha one because the thing that goes to what do they call it? I don't remember what they call it, to be honest with you. But yeah, Alpha is what I'm using, I believe. So new day one has been issued and the moderate has been maintained. So no high risk yet. We still have that moderate risk that is maintained. And slight risk is also maintained for northern Alabama for the ones that are watching from North Alabama. Gusty winds and spin-up tornadoes are still possible out here. All right, so our tornado that just went through Dixon is likely beginning to move off into Clifton Beach and San Leon, as I mentioned earlier. It is fixing to move offshore, but this is a confirmed and dangerous tornado that could still be on the ground. Right now, we kind of don't have a CC on it due to the amount of radar noise that's going on here. But a very strong tornado is still ongoing for sure. Tilt 2. I apologize. I was reading another chat, which is probably what you heard on the radar or on the thing. So velocity may actually still be west of 146, but tilt 1 is insane looking with this velocity couplet. That's looking into, or actually that's tilt 2, I think. Yes, tilt 2. So this is looking higher up in the atmosphere, and this is looking higher into the meso, and a stronger area of rotation with winds up to 70 miles per hour away from the radar, and up to potentially 33, 40 miles per hour towards the radar. This is beginning to move off of land and onto the waters here, but still violent. It's still very violent here, and unfortunately we could be having a lot of damage being caused out in this area. It's kind of threading the needle between Clifton Beach and San Leon, for sure. Alright, so like I said, the moderate risk has been maintained. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Alright. Again, if you follow me on Twitter at WeathermanNick1, you'll see some of the posts that I send out. But here is your update on our SBC outlook. We do have a level 4 out of 5 risk that continues to stretch from very extreme southeastern Texas across central Louisiana, central Mississippi, into very far southwestern Alabama, where a long track tornado outbreak, violent tornadoes are all possible. And yeah, this storm should have went PDS. The amount of winds, of course, this is really close to radar at the same time, so I can understand the differences here, but really, honestly, this storm is very violent, and it definitely dropped a very destructive tornado across this area, likely. We saw winds up to 44 miles per hour as it crossed over this Dixon live camera. We might actually, I didn't think about it, but no, not really. You're not able to see it anymore via here, but look at that couplet. That is a very strong couplet on the radar. So a very strong couplet is now moving off of the shore. Thankfully, it looks like it is kind of strengthening away from population, and it's becoming a water spout at this time. But if you got any boaters that likes to go fishing out in this bay here, I don't know exactly what bay this is, but north of Texan and Galveston, or north of Texas City and Galveston, Texas, go ahead and let them know that, hey, they need to be getting off the waters if they haven't been already. I'm sure they probably have due to the sheer amount of rain that's out here and lightning, and I'm sure they were probably able to see it. But very violent tornado is continuing offshore. And that's where we're going to drive our focus up north towards the tornado warning up here that has 5 more minutes southwest of Jasper. Light rotation still continues there. A lot of these storms are really beginning to rotate. So if you're out towards the areas of Warren, once again, another tornado possible tag, severe thunderstorm warning, is issued for your area. Up to 60 miles per hour winds and frequent lightning. And of course, a possible tornado is all in this warning. Going out to Louisiana, we still have another... We're about to get a tornado warning on this one. Hey. We got a tornado possible tag, severe thunderstorm warning for the areas of... for the areas of Atlanta, Louisiana. This area here is rotating very well. That actually warrants a tornado warning here. I believe that is a strong enough couplet. So if you have anybody out in this area that you may know, go ahead and let them know that they need to be seeking shelter regardless. A very decent couplet is on this cell here. And they should be seeking shelter now, because this is not tornado warned currently. Bear with me, folks. Alright, I do apologize. I was concentrating on what I was saying here. What office is this? Shreveport. So just making sure Shreveport is aware of that potential rotation. Okay, now we do actually have tornado footage of the tornado out in, that was out here near Dixon, and unfortunately, it does look like we had a very violent tornado that just went through. Which is not good at all. Alright, enough of the silence here. So again, a level 4 out of 5 risk continues. We're expecting a PDS tornado watch to be issued out towards Louisiana here in the next several hours. Or in the next hour, if you will. Excuse me. If you're still in the chats, I appreciate you for spending time here with us. So what they're going to do... It expired this one tornado watch, and they're going to issue that PDS tornado watch. So a few tornadoes are still possible, and or actually really likely. A few tornadoes are likely across Louisiana and Mississippi, with some being violent. and a very long track. So we are just at the brunt of this event here. Tornado warning was allowed to be dropped for the areas of League City and Texas City. You can go ahead and be getting out of your safe place. Just be aware of debris potentially on the ground. This is now a water spout and continues to move over water. But just a heads up, if you're out towards Oak Island and going towards the Double Boyer and Smith Point, go ahead and be getting prepared for this to make landfall here in just a little while. May not still be a tornado, but it is still rotating and it's something you should watch very closely. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it maintains its strength if we get another tornado warning here within the next couple of minutes. And with that all being said, let's see here real quick. Whoops. All right. We got 59 minutes on the current tornado watch. Once they allow that one to expire, they'll issue the PDS tornado watch right behind it. So just a heads up there. And potentially a tornado trying to be produced just south of Pacton, Louisiana. There's some velocity here that is being noted on radar. Very messy though, so that's I'm going to keep a good eye on it. But right now it's under tornado warning criteria now. Brad Arnold is out here just in front of it. He's going to try to intercept the supercell here. He is in the clear slot. Look at all these little blimps that are starting to show up on radar as well. This is kind of bad news as this is going to be the beginning of our long event. All of these could become supercells, and all of these could produce long track, strong to violent tornadoes up to EF3 potentially. Got a severe thunderstorm warning for areas north or west of New Orleans. We just got a tornado warning finally issued for that area that I was just talking about. So thankfully, they have finally noted that it is rotating. If you are now, if you're in Pacton and Newmore, Moore, Jordan Hill, Murray Junction, Zion, Colgrade, and out towards Corey, you need to be seeking shelter now. A tornado warning has just been issued for those areas. Tornado warning for north central Grant Parish and north central Louisiana, and southeastern Wynn Parish and north central Louisiana until 2:45 p.m. CDT. Up to golf ball size hail is possible, and even a tornado. You need to be seeking shelter now. Put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world. Stay away from doors and windows. Try to find you a bicycle helmet and put it on top of your head to protect your head, and try to find something else to protect your other vital organs from potentially being injured during a potential tornado. Go ahead and be seeking shelter if you haven't been already. Disregard on that potential tornado. Because somebody had decided to post something that was old footage, as usual, on social media, and so it wasn't right. Yep, I just noticed that too. So I unreposted it. So that tornado footage that I reposted on my Twitter app, or my Twitter page, if you will, is footage from 2022, which I kind of figured it looked familiar, but honestly, I couldn't really tell, so I considered it as what we had dealt with earlier. Brad Arnold is fixing to potentially intercept a tornado or at least a wall cloud out here. He's probably having some issues with internet. Lightning activity is beginning to pick up just a little bit near the velocity couplet as we are beginning to see this rotate fairly well. If you're out ahead of this in Pacton, go ahead and be seeking shelter. Again, Pacton, Moore, Newmore, Jordan Hill, Colgate, Murray Junction, and Corey. Or if you're on Highway 167, County Road 472, you need to be seeking shelter. This one's going to be a one that we're going to have to watch for, because this one could be long track if it continues. We could have cell mergers here that, actually, bear with me. Oh yeah, most definitely. Flash flooding is going to be a threat that we're going to have to watch for. Due to how much rain is expected, some training is possible, especially as we head into Mississippi and Alabama. A lot of rain, up to 3 to 4 inches, expected to fall, so flash flooding is likely. And even out towards Dixon, Texas, it wouldn't surprise me if they were to start dealing with flash flooding. Another thing that I'm noticing here is that our convection is really beginning to pop up here out and across Louisiana. That PDS trying to watch is going to be coming soon. Ahead of the long day that we have here. We still got a tornado possible tag for this cell down towards Warren. Same thing. A lot of these storms are going to be rotating regardless because of the amount of shear that we have in the upper atmosphere. A lot of rotation is going to be within these cells here for the next several hours. So that's just a heads up. If you're out in Louisiana, be prepared for a long day. We might actually see, if this line continues here, because this is a beginning setup for our QLCS threat, we might actually see a severe thunderstorm warning get issued for this later. With that being said, a potential tornado possible tag will probably be added to it. Brad Arnold is currently seeing something here that interests me to his left side of his screen. I don't want to exactly share his, because that's not my stuff, but this is Brad Arnold. And it does look like he's got something potentially moving onto his left side of the screen, and that actually could be the storm moving into his view. So if you are driving, as I just saw in a stream, if you are driving towards Pacton, you need to be in your safe place now. It looks like it does appear a wall cloud is possible. So Pacton, if you're in Pacton, like I just mentioned, you need to be in your safe place immediately. Let's see here. So with the tornado, the PDS tornado watch that will be coming soon, it's going to be including the areas of this of Louisiana going into Jackson, Mississippi, and across this area. Probably a little bit larger area, like including parts of southern Monroe area. Let's see if I could draw this bigger real quick. So this area here could most definitely see a PDS trying to watch. So Jackson, Mississippi, you're right in that dead zone pretty much, if you will, or just in the bullseye of that PDS trying to watch, and of course across the Mississippi River. If you live along there, just be prepared for this upcoming event. Long evening is ahead. We've been live for 1 hour and just about 30 minutes. And it does continue. We do continue with the live. And it looks like Brad Arnold is taking off towards the supercell that is potentially about to produce a tornado here. Out here and near Atlanta, Atlanta, Louisiana, or towards Jordan Hill and Pacton, Louisiana. So if you're in those areas, like I mentioned, put as many walls as you can between you. You're under a tornado warning for the next 35 minutes. The National Weather Service in Shreveport has issued a tornado warning for northern central Grant Parish and north central Louisiana, southeastern Wind Parish and north central Louisiana until 2:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You should expect a potential tornado and golf ball sized hail with this thunderstorm. Tornado possible severe thunderstorm warnings continue. One in Texas, another one in parts of southeastern Texas and northwestern Louisiana. I feel like I'm coming under the weather or something over here. Let's see here. Alright, so I believe the tornado watch was canceled. They are fixing to issue our PDS tornado watch that we have been anticipating for a great minute. We'll see if they are going to allow this watch to expire, and they're going to issue a new one. So around 3, well, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. But I do plan on at least working on some type of forecast update for my local area. So I want to be here for the largest event because it looks like, I think between the time frame of from now through 5 and 6 o'clock tonight is where we're going to really see that potential of stronger storms. So that's something we're going to continue to watch for sure. And excuse the train noise. I do happen to live by a train track now. Alright, so that rotation is beginning to move back onto shore here, or getting close. It's still a violent waterspout, likely, that's about to move right back onto shore. Our couplet was kind of downsized, but if you're in Smithport, you need to go ahead and be seeking shelter. A new tornado warning has just been issued for areas of Jasper and Newton, Texas, going into close to Louisiana here. So if you're in Jasper and Newton, Texas, go ahead and be seeking shelter now, as a tornado warning has just been issued for your area. So if you're located somewhere around 1005, that's County Road 1005, you need to be getting off the road and finding a safe place. If you're heading into Jasper on Highway 96, you need to be getting off the roadways and finding a sturdy shelter away from doors and windows. And if you're out ahead of this, going out towards County Road 190 or Highway 63, go ahead and get ready. Go ahead and be preparing to find a safe place now, as this tornado warning was just issued. And here's your couplet right here, just south of County Road 1005. You need to be getting to a safe place now. This tornado warning is not expected to expire until the next 46 minutes, until 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Get to your safe place now. Put as many walls as you can between you and from the outside world. Right, there we go. I do apologize. I was putting out the new tornado warning there. Alright, so we are currently down to 2 tornado warnings at this time. Both of these are not expected to expire until about 3 to 3:30. 3 to 3:20, if you will. Be in your safe places. It's been a while since I've mentioned anything, but if you're now tuning in, or just now tuning in, we are covering a possible tornado outbreak here for your Saturday afternoon. If you haven't heard already, you need to be getting prepared, and I really hope that you're prepared, because today has been something that's been talked about on the books for the longest time. And our PDS Tornado Watch has been issued now for parts of eastern Texas, Louisiana, going into Louisiana, and western Mississippi. New tornado warning has been added to the areas here, going on to Anuak and Smithport. So you need to be getting to your safe place now if you haven't been already. Again, that is towards the Anuak and Smithport area, towards Oak Island. Closest you're going to be to get impacted is near Smithport. There's a radar indicated tornado warning in Houston, or east of Houston, Texas, for the next 43 minutes. So until 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time, this tornado warning will be issued for eastern Chambers and County and southeastern Texas. Get to your safe place now if you haven't been already. I want to quickly talk about our PDS Tornado Watch that has just been issued. I'm waiting for it to come in on Radar Omega. Wow. It's going to be a long evening across Louisiana. Oh. Bear with me, folks. Alright. So we are just getting started into our event. I do apologize for the silence, if you will. A particularly dangerous situation tornado watch has just been issued across Louisiana or across Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Still waiting on that to come through. There it is. Alright. So our particularly dangerous situation tornado watch has just been issued now. numerous tornadoes, strong tornadoes are expected. And some could be violent. Scattered hail up to 2 inches is possible. And widespread wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour is possible as well. So you need to be staying in your safe place now. Excuse me, you need to be preparing for this event that is fixing to unfold across Louisiana, southeastern Texas, and Arkansas and Mississippi. Is going to be a long afternoon. So, all right. So hopefully, I won't have to do much of that. I'm honestly gonna have to get somebody to start doing my my typing for me, so I can actually do weather coverage. But we still have 3 tornado warnings. One in Louisiana that is in effect till I'm trying to think until 3 p.m. here. So until 3 p.m. this afternoon, 2:45. So, tornado warning remains in effect until 2:45 p.m. CST or Central Daylight Time for North Central Grant and Southeastern wind carries. And this is a tornado radar indicated tornado rotation that it continues to be monitored. Of course, we have the new tornado warning that is in effect until 3 to 3:30 p.m. So 3 p.m. for northern Newton and east central Jasper counties, and beginning to head into Louisiana. And of course, we have this new tornado warning that was issued for Oak Island and Smith Point. That's going to be until 3 p.m. as well. Welcome in everybody that is just now tuning in. We're live now covering what is about to likely be a extremely busy night. A particularly dangerous situation tornado watch was just issued, and it does not expire until 9 p.m. tonight, where multiple to numerous long track lived tornadoes, some being very strong, is expected, and large hail up to 2 inches with gusty winds up to 80 miles per hour. All are expected tonight ahead of this event. Please do stay weather aware across this area. We continue with that 3 tornado warnings that do continue here. So high risk was just talked about earlier, but in general we are not expected to see one just yet. Now bear with me real quick, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I apologize about that, everyone. Um, I might actually try to get some people into helping me here soon, so we can get a good amount. Of course, I don't go live this often, or as often as I am right now, because today is just a type of event that I decided that we were gonna go live. Plus, I'm helping the Malicoute weather team on Facebook with this live coverage. So again, we have 3 tornado warnings: one in Texas, actually 2 in Texas, 1 in Louisiana. These will all continue until about 2:40, 2:30 to 2:40, and until 3 p.m. to 3:20. These are all for radar indicated rotation. Let's see here real quick. So we're just starting this event here, and I apologize. Welcome in, Zane, as well. This is going to be a long event day where multiple super sales are going to begin to start rotating. And I'm likely not going to be here live for all of it, unfortunately. So one person that I will recommend to tune into that is probably way better than me is Ryan Hallyaw. Ryan Hallyaw is currently live on YouTube. So if you want to go give his channel a visit, I can tag his channel, I think. Because I will likely have to sign off within the next 30 minutes or so, unfortunately. I would love to cover this event, but it doesn't look like I'll be able to very well just yet. Anyway, we're getting a lot of interesting looking cells out here that are starting to have that curvature shape to them. And this being said, that just shows us that we have, sheared atmosphere helping these storms begin to really develop and really begin to start spinning as well. Especially some of them out here towards the woodlands. Every one of these storms are likely going to start rotating, and they're going to be something that we're going to have to watch for. So that includes, a bunch of these little cells where almost spin-up tornadoes are going to be possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting tornado warnings up the wazoo being issued. Yep, max velocity. Evan's a good source as well. They're all really good streamers that cover severe weather. And I'm just a kid that's learning how to do this. I'm nothing yet, and it takes time for everybody to really learn how to do live streams like this. And I enjoy doing this because it helps out keep people aware. While we only have small groups of people in the weather chats, it's always still fun to cover severe weather events, and it's always it's life-saving for some that may not have a good source of getting weather alerts out, if you will. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for the areas of the Woodlands, Spring, and Humble, Texas. This is north of Houston. We'll definitely have to watch this for potential rotation in the future. Main reason why that was issued was for the hail. We continue with our tornado warning out here, now moving onshore of Smith Point and Oakland, Texas. And this is in effect until 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Radar indicated rotation continues. This storm does have the history of producing tornadoes. This is still a very strong couplet moving onshore here as we speak. So honestly, wouldn't surprise me at all if we see a tornado touch the ground. That's awesome, Jacob. And yeah, just keep pushing forward with doing forecasts. Keep pushing forward with doing live streams and whatnot. Don't be scared to be on the camera. It's not too bad. It's fun to learn and engage. Now, when it comes to covering tornado outbreaks like this, it's not something to play around with, and you definitely have to be serious when it comes to this. And towards that, anyways. Again, tornado warning continues for Newton, Louisiana now. And this will continue until, 3 p.m. Central. All right, so that will continue until 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time for the areas of Newton. If you're east of Jasper, go ahead and seek shelter. There's a lot of towns out ahead of this, and I'll go ahead and call them out for you. So if you are towards Zion Hill, Roganville, Keaton, Holly Springs, Huff Creek, Jamestown, Newton, Quicksand, Liberty, Fairsville, Harrisburg, Maddox, and out towards Sankersville, Simonsville, and Weak Settlement, you need to be in your safe place now. You're under a tornado warning until 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Moving up into north central Louisiana, we continue with a tornado warning for another 16 minutes. Depending on how well the storm is rotating, we could see a new tornado warning get issued out ahead of it. That will include the areas potentially out, including Hickory Valley, Flat Creek, Cotton Plant, Chester, Mount Pleasant, Clarks. So that's just a heads up there. Although there's not very tight rotation, but it wouldn't surprise me if we were to see something of a sort of a new warning in the future. And we have another tornado on the ground here. If you're just south of Oak Island, like I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if a tornado was to be on the ground, and here we are. A tornado is now on the ground impacting lands near Smithport, or, what's that? Smith PT Road, I'm going to assume. So, areas south of Oak Island and northeast of Smithport, get to your safe place now. This is a tornado on the ground. The warning's still radar indicated, but I'm sure we're about to get a new, a new warning get issued. Honestly, even though this is not in front of a very populated area, if it continues with the way it's doing here, a PDS tornado warning is likely. Again, a PDS tornado warning is likely, just depending on where she goes, and it is observed. We now have a observed tornado warning out ahead. If you are living out towards Double Boye, or Bayo, just south of it, go ahead and be getting to your safe place. And since this is kind of moving over rural area, if you're out towards Fridge Ridge and Sea Bridge, go ahead and be getting to your safe place now. This storm is moving into your area here very soon. And this is a particularly, I would say this is a dangerous tornado. Not a particularly dangerous tornado, but this is still very, very dangerous at this time. I'm going to go ahead and post this. Share the stream. Wow, this is a bad tornado on the ground here. Velocity couplets it just blew up here. So you need to be getting to your safe place if you're living out in front of this. Bear with me, folks. Alright, post is updated. So a very strong tornado could be potentially on the ground out here towards the area south of Oakland. I really hope there's no houses out here. It doesn't really look like it, but there is roads out and about, so we might have one or two houses here and there. So a tornado, again, is on the ground south of Oak Island and northeast of Smithport. You need to be getting to your safe place now if you haven't been already. A damaging tornado is likely going to move into the areas of Seabreeze, Fidge Ridge, and Stowell here in the next several minutes. We've been watching this tornado for nearly a couple hours, or about an hour now, at least. And I believe Brandon Kopic had some decent structure on a storm up in Louisiana earlier. So I'm going to have his feed pulled off to the right. But I'm really wanting to focus, even though there's not a large population out here just yet, this is a very strong rotation that's currently ongoing. And a tornado is being produced. Wow. So again, this storm does continue. Significant tornado damage is being reported in the Houston area from the storm earlier today, and now it continues to move onshore east of Houston. This is extreme southeastern Texas now that now that this tornado is moving into. So if you have family out here, go ahead and let them know that they need to be getting to their safe place, and they need to stay there now. Is it raining here? Let's see. Bear with me. I'm also checking locally. So some prefrontal rain showers is moving into the my forecast area, which is something that may help keep the storms down across North Alabama. So that's something to note for the ones that are watching from northern Alabama. New tornado warning was just issued for Mississippi. I think this is our first tornado warning for Mississippi of the day. An area of rotation has been noted near Centerville and Gloucester, Mississippi. If you're in that area, you need to be seeking shelter now. This warning is in effect for the next 39 minutes or until 3:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So I think what we're going to do here is end off the live for now, and we're going to come back within the next several hours to continue covering, but right this second I'm going to have to get a couple other things done for my local area. We might be back, we may not be back, so that's just a heads up for everybody. Stay weather aware. The event's nowhere near done. You're going to have to really keep an eye on this severe weather outbreak as it's just looking busy and it's going to get bad out there. Stay weather aware, everyone, and I will see y'all later, hopefully. But thank you for tuning in, and stay on the safe side.